Ever get the feeling like you just know what your pet's thinking?
Mm.
Like that unspoken connection?
Yeah.
We're going to dive into some wild stuff today.
Okay.
Interspecies telepathic communication.
All right.
The idea that you can actually talk to animals.
With your mind.
With your mind, yeah.
No words.
We've got a ton of material from Penelope Smith.
Oh, yeah. Penelope Smith.
Like a pioneer in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Been doing it for like over 40 years.
Wow.
And get this, she doesn't just say it's about animals.
Oh.
She thinks you can telepathically communicate with anything.
Plants.
Plants, yeah.
Insects.
Insects, uh-huh.
Even like the earth itself.
The earth itself, yeah. Pretty out there, right?
That's a big one.
So before we get too deep into the woo-woo, like, what exactly are we talking about here?
Right.
What does she even mean by interspecies telepathic communication?
So basically, it's exchanging information
Okay.
using thought and feeling.
Thought and feeling, okay.
Not spoken language.
Not like hearing voices, right?
Right, not like that.
Yeah.
It's more about like sensing,
Sensing, okay.
subtle energies,
Energies.
emotions,
Nice.
even like sometimes images.
Okay, so like vibes, basically.
Kinda, yeah. Like tuning into a whole different frequency.
All right, I got to say, I'm a little skeptical.
I get that.
I mean, I get feeling a connection with my dog.
Sure.
But a full-on telepathic conversation with a tree?
It's a stretch for most people.
That's a big stretch.
Even Penelope admits this stuff really challenges like what we think we know about communication.
Okay, fair enough.
But her argument is like all our focus on logic and language, it's actually blocking our natural telepathic abilities.
So she's saying we're all born with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, society just kind of squashes it out of us?
Exactly. She points to like indigenous cultures
Right.
where they still use this all the time as proof that it's more natural than we think.
Interesting. Makes you wonder what else we've lost touch with, right?
For sure.
So how did Penelope even get into all this?
It's a pretty wild story, actually.
Not exactly your typical career path.
No, not at all. She was actually communicating with animals as a kid.
Really?
Yeah, and then she became like a spiritual counselor.
Okay.
She even did things like past life regression with clients.
That's life regression. Wow.
Yeah, and that's actually how she got into animal communication.
What, like she did past life regression on an animal?
It was a cat.
A cat?
Yeah, this super traumatized cat.
Oh, wow.
And she just like intuitively tried using the same techniques she used with people.
And it worked.
The cat started healing.
That's crazy.
And that's when she realized she could use her skills to help animals too.
Like with their own emotional baggage?
Exactly. And she has this one story that just blows me away about this grizzly bear.
Oh, yeah. The one that was like half paralyzed. Right?
Yeah, that's the one.
I remember reading about that. It was insane.
So the bear was not only physically hurt, but also like super traumatized.
Right.
And then to make things even worse, there was this other bear.
Another bear.
Yeah, a male bear stalking her.
Oh, man.
It was a really dangerous situation.
So what did she do?
She talks about connecting with a spirit bear.
A spirit bear.
Yeah, like a guiding spirit.
Okay, now we're getting into some seriously mystical stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty out there.
Did it work?
The mother bear, she actually got her mobility back.
Wow.
And was able to protect her cubs.
That's incredible. But, like, how does any of this actually work? Does she have to, like, go into a trance or something?
It's not quite that dramatic. She talks a lot about cultivating a quiet presence.
Quiet presence.
Like setting aside your own thoughts, your judgments.
Right.
And just becoming really receptive to the animal's energy.
So it's more about feeling than thinking.
Exactly.
Like tapping into their vibes.
Yeah, exactly. Shifting your consciousness.
Okay.
So you can almost like experience their feelings and thoughts directly.
So we're not talking about, like, literally hearing my cat complain about his new bed.
No, not like that.
Okay, good.
It's more about understanding
Understanding, okay.
their needs, their emotions,
Gotcha.
how they see the world.
So what about when they're feeling, like, negative stuff?
That's a common worry.
Is there, like, a risk of getting hit with a bunch of bad vibes?
Penelope says you got to work through those fears.
Okay.
Understand that even negative emotions can be useful.
Huh. Interesting.
It's about seeing the world through their eyes.
Even if it's not pretty.
Exactly.
So it's about a real connection.
Yeah.
Not just, like, tricking them into doing what you want.
No, not manipulation.
More like respect.
Respect, recognizing them as beings with their own way of experiencing things.
Yeah, and this is heavy stuff. Makes you rethink how we treat animals, right? So for someone who's totally intrigued by all this,
Yeah.
how do you actually learn to do it?
Penelope has an online course. It's supposed to be really practical.
Okay, I'm in. Tell me more about this course.
So it's broken down into 7 modules.
7 modules, okay.
You get pre-recorded videos, transcripts,
Exercises.
Yeah, and even bonus articles from her journal, Species Link.
Wow, she really goes all out.
She explains the techniques in detail, gives tons of real-life examples.
So it's not just like theory, it's hands-on learning.
Totally.
It's about developing your intuitive skills, actually practicing.
Mm-hmm.
And using it in your everyday life.
That's the goal.
This is blowing my mind. I'm starting to wonder if my cat's been trying to tell me stuff this whole time.
Haha, maybe.
And I've just been totally missing it.
You never know.
But before I go down that rabbit hole,
Right.
let's get into the nitty-gritty of this course.
Okay.
Find out how she actually teaches people to unlock this wild ability.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned.
All right, so before we jump into the course itself,
Right.
there's this really important thing Penelope keeps coming back to. It's not just about, like, focusing on the animal.
Mm-hmm.
It's about seeing the bigger picture.
Okay.
Like how everything's connected.
Okay, I'm listening.
She calls it grounding.
Grounding.
It's about connecting with the earth.
The earth, okay.
Deeply connected.
So, like, are we talking hugging trees here?
Haha, not quite.
Okay.
But seriously, she thinks this connection is crucial.
Crucial for what?
For communicating with any being.
Oh, wow. So how do you ground yourself?
Well, she uses drumming sometimes.
Rumming, like, in a group.
Not necessarily. It's more about using the rhythm.
The rhythm, okay.
To kind of shift your awareness.
Shift your awareness.
And tap into that earth energy.
So it's like a meditation thing.
Kinda, yeah. It's about getting on that same wavelength as, like, all of life.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then once you're grounded.
Then the real work begins.
What kind of work?
She has all these exercises
What was this?
to help you rediscover those telepathic abilities.
You know, she said that a lot of us have probably experienced this stuff without realizing it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Like when you just know your dog wants to go for a walk, even though they haven't, like, barked or anything.
Exactly. We're picking up on those cues all the time.
But we just don't notice.
We're not tuned in. Penelope's exercises are all about, like, sharpening those senses.
So what are these exercises like? Staring into crystals.
Haha. No.
Okay, good.
One of the big things she focuses on is finding your communication style.
My communication style.
Yeah, because telepathy isn't about words, right?
Right, it's like vibes and feelings and stuff.
Exactly, and that can manifest differently for different people.
For, like, some people might see pictures in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Others might feel it in their body.
Yeah, or just have this, like, knowing.
Unknowing. Okay.
She has exercises to help you figure out which of your senses are the strongest for this.
Wow, that's cool, like finding your own telepathic language. So once you figure out how you speak telepathically, what then?
Well, a big part of the course is actually using it.
Using it, okay.
She has a whole module on working with your own pet.
So, like, real life practice.
Real life practice.
Okay, that's where I start to get a little nervous.
Oh, why?
What if I try to connect with my dog?
Yeah.
And all I get is, like, telepathic criticism?
Uh-huh.
Like, I hate my new food.
But you're a terrible owner.
Exactly.
This is where that whole calm presence thing comes in.
Okay.
It's about creating a safe space.
A safe space.
Where communication can flow freely.
Even if it's not what you want to hear.
Even if it's uncomfortable, remember, it's not about controlling the animal.
Right.
It's about understanding them.
Understanding that.
Respecting their perspective.
Even if it's totally different from mine.
Exactly. And sometimes those negative messages are actually really useful.
Huh. How so?
They might be telling you something important about their needs.
Okay, that's a good point.
Like, maybe they're not scratching the furniture to be annoying.
Right.
Maybe they're stressed, or they need a different scratching post.
Interesting. So it's really about getting deeper than just the surface behavior.
Exactly. And that goes way beyond just training or fixing problems.
What's it about then?
It's about deepening the relationship.
Deepening the relationship.
Building real empathy and compassion.
It's like going from master pet to something more equal, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Like partners.
And that shift in perspective, it can change everything.
Everything.
How you see your pet, other people, even nature itself.
Wow, that's powerful. So it's not just about the animals, really.
It's about us, too.
It's about becoming better humans.
Exactly.
Man, this is making me think. Maybe I should give this telepathy thing a shot.
I think you should.
Who knows? Maybe I'll finally figure out why my cat always sits on my keyboard when I'm trying to work.
Uh-huh.
But before I go try to talk to my cat,
Right.
let's talk more about the practical stuff. Like, how does interspecies communication actually affect our lives? What are the benefits? Right. So we've talked about grounding, connecting with the earth,
Yeah.
and like discovering your own telepathic language, how you send and receive those vibes. But I'm still kind of hung up on the practical stuff. Like, how does this actually help me in my everyday life?
Well, think about it. One of the biggest areas is with your pets.
Okay, my cat, for instance.
Exactly. So many behavioral issues come from us not understanding their needs, right?
Right.
But if you could actually tap into what's going on in their head,
Yeah.
you could start to address the root cause of the problem.
Instead of just like yelling at them to get off the counter.
Exactly. Like maybe your cat's scratching the furniture.
Nice place.
But instead of just getting mad, you could try to understand why.
Like, is it stress? Boredom?
Maybe they just need a different scratching post.
Huh. I never thought of it like that.
And that's just one example. Imagine being able to understand, like, when your dog's actually in pain.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That'd be huge.
Or if they're scared of something, you could help them work through it.
Instead of just thinking they're being, like, stubborn.
It's all about seeing things from their point of view.
So it's not about controlling them. It's about collaborating.
Exactly. And that kind of understanding builds a whole new level of trust and connection.
It's like going beyond just being, like, owner and pet.
Yeah, it becomes a real relationship based on mutual respect.
And that respect, that understanding, doesn't just stay with the animals, does it?
No way. It spills over into everything. Your relationships with other people, how you see nature.
So this telepathy thing, it's not just about talking to animals.
It's about becoming a better person overall.
Wow. That's pretty profound.
It really is. It's about expanding our awareness, our empathy.
Recognizing that we're all connected on some level.
That's the heart of it, really.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I gotta say, I was skeptical at first.
I get it.
But you've really opened my eyes to a whole new world.
I'm glad to hear that.
I think I might actually try some of this stuff out and see what happens.
I encourage you to. You never know what you might discover.
Well, on that note, we'll wrap things up. Big thanks to Penelope Smith for her amazing work.
She's truly a pioneer.
And to all of you listening, maybe this has sparked something in you too.
Maybe.
Maybe you've been having these telepathic conversations all along and just didn't realize it. So keep your minds open, keep your hearts open, and who knows, maybe you'll discover a whole new way of connecting with the world around you.
Thanks for joining us.